everyone, and welcome to today's stream. I am here with Dr. Christine Kalmus, our MST coordinator, and MST stands for Military Sexual Trauma, and also Dr. Paula Smith-Benson, and they are going to be spilling the tea today on life after MST. But before we begin, I would like to remind everyone to follow us and like wherever you are. If you want to ask questions, you could do that in the comments section and we will be able to see it and answer it in real time. So welcome to everyone who's watching and welcome to Dr. Kalmus and Dr. Smith-Benson. So what's the tea about life after MST?
Well, Rosalia, today we're going to be exploring the mind-body connection and physical health challenges that can result from MST. I am really excited to be here with Dr. Smith-Benson to share her recovery journey in honor of Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month, which is April. So to open it up, my first question is, how did the MST affect you? And how did you cope following your immediately after your experience of military sexual trauma?
Well, thank you for asking that question. Welcome, everybody. We're glad to have you here sharing this space with us. I'm really glad you asked that question because what I will say is immediately after the military sexual assault, I did not cope with it at all. So I actually tried my best to just stuff it, put it on a shelf somewhere. And, I was just very mission driven. I really probably became like a workaholic. So I just kind of overly, excessively dove into work, dove into parenting, extra activities to really not deal with it at all. And then once coming into the VA, I have to be quite honest with you, this was back in 2009 out in California, was my first VA appointment. And let me tell you, during that screening process, when they asked me, had you ever experienced military sexual assault? I could breathe. Like just that question opened up the door, number one, to let me know that I wasn't alone. And then secondly, there was supports available. So I was finally able to exhale. And honestly, that was really the first time that I told my story related to the incident was when I came into the VA for that first appointment. And then after that, I had gained a significant amount of weight, well over 100 pounds. And I was eating excessively. And due to my discomfort, going out of my house, getting out of my room, getting out of my bed, not feeling good about myself, I ate. And my consciousness at that time was, well, let me insulate myself from the world. Let me eat so that I'm not attractive. If I'm not attractive and I'm heavy, then I got to be safer that way than the size I was while on active duty. So it wasn't really about what I was eating. It was about what was eating me. But I had no clue of what was really going on, that mind-body connection. And then subsequently, I was morbidly obese. I'm only 5'2", and my heaviest weight was 263 pounds.
What kind of physical health challenges resulted from that?
That is a great question. What presented initially was actually hypertension or high blood pressure. So when I would go in for just appointments and screenings, that number on the top and bottom started going up. And subsequent to that, it had to be treated. So now, because of the obesity, or the morbid obesity in my case, because I'm just so short in stature, I ended up with high blood pressure. I ended up with very, very painful joints. My knees began to hurt. I started experiencing low back pain. I ended up with reflux, again, mind body. At the time, I did not know that my thought process had a demonstration in my body. I had no idea. So I kept going in for, different appointments, and really didn't get any resolution for the dis-ease that I was experiencing, not knowing that it was this repressed military sexual trauma that was expressing itself through my actual body.
How did you first learn about the mind-body connection?
So, great question. I first learned about the mind-body connection right there at the VA. I think I was in Philadelphia at the time, and I was enrolled into the PRRC, which is the Psychosocial Rehabilitation and Recovery Center. We do have one of those here in Baltimore. It's in the annex. And that program began to introduce this concept of holistic health, and began to introduce offerings, actually, that I was very unfamiliar with. So I didn't understand that taking a yoga class and just noticing my breath was helpful, because guess what that did? It allowed me to be present. Go figure. So I couldn't really think about what had happened, because I was learning how to be present in the right now moment. And then there was Tai Chi that was offered. There was acupuncture that I went through. So all of these modalities that I would be able to heal my whole person. I even experienced equine assisted psychotherapy, where I was working with the horses to find a way to be able to express what I was feeling. Because at the time, I really didn't have an awareness. I felt more numb than anything. But as I went through these modalities, I was able to heal. And then one of the mental health therapy approaches that I was offered, and I'm so grateful for, was cognitive processing therapy. But that didn't come until I had to heal from the inside out and not the outside in. So before any of my physical weight related issues could even be addressed, I had to deal with the weight that I was feeling inside. And once I got a new thought, a new idea, and honestly, I don't know how this is going to land, but I feel like I need to say it. I was given permission to heal. Somebody outside of myself told me that I had something within me that was powerful enough that I could begin to participate in my own healing process. Wow. That was like not only encouraging, but empowering. That now, what do you mean I'm part of the healthcare team? What are you talking about? No, I'm just here for the appointment. No, aren't y'all going to do all the stuff? Oh, I need to do something? Oh, we're working together collaboratively? You've got to be kidding. So now I became an important part of my own process. And then once I went through all of that mental health and got that dis-ease and began to feel back in my body and present in the now, I ended up having weight loss surgery at the VA, thank goodness. And then I was able to lose 126 pounds. That was back in 2017. And that sort of allowed my body the chance to heal from what it had been through. I had sleep apnea. I had to wear the CPAP machine. So I've really come through literally a whole transformation, but it was mind body from the inside out. And when someone told me that you have the power of choice, that you can make decisions on your own behalf, you have agency, self-directed, you can live a self-directed life. What do you mean?
That was revolutionary.
Oh my God, it was revolutionary. That's the perfect word for it, because coming off of active duty, it wasn't a self-directed life.
Mm-hmm.
It was service before self. So I had lost the whole concept of self, had no agency, and was looking outside of myself for a solution that was always within. Go figure. Who knew if I changed my mind, I could change my whole life?
It's amazing. How are you doing today?
Well, today I am actually doing quite well. That doesn't mean that this is a straight line. This is not linear. This goes up, down, and round. But in this moment, I'm doing okay. And that was one of the things, thank you for asking that, Christine, because that was one of the things I learned from CPT. I'm safe right now. In this right now moment, I'm safe. And I would remind myself of that, I don't know how many times, countless times throughout the day, just to bring myself back into the moment that I'm safe today. People are safe. The world is safe. It's okay for me to go outside. I would not leave my house. I would not leave my room. I would not open the blinds. I would not answer the door. I could only go to the VA and back for medical appointments. That was all that I had the capacity to do at times during my process. So right now I have therapy every 2 weeks right here at the VA. So I'm still working on that growth after trauma recovery and learning interpersonal skills and how to have healthy relationships and how to get to know myself better. I'm so thankful that the VA has these amazing apps. So right on my phone, I have a toolkit. The Beyond MST app is amazing.
It is.
So
it really is.
It helps me to stay present. If I start to feel like I'm experiencing something, my phone is with me always, so I can just get on that. I have the cognitive processing therapy app. I can do my worksheets right there on the go, or make a voice recording, a voice note, and get back to it later. But I'm so thankful for the Veterans Health Administration and this focus on whole health.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your story. It really does sound like it's been an incredible transformation, and you've been very active from the start in choosing what you wanted to do, where you wanted to start, all the way to today. It sounds like it is something that requires ongoing care and management.
Absolutely. And I just want to say that healing is a process. It is a process, and I had to come to the realization that this is very different from the concept that I had, is that once I took the medicine, everything would be all right. I didn't realize I had to participate, because I don't participate. If I just say I end up with pink eye, for instance, I don't really participate in the drops. I just put the drops in my eye, and I know that something's going to happen. The bacteria is going to be taken care of, and then my eye will clear up. Well, this is not really like that. This is more like when you go to a party and they have door prizes and you get a ticket, and right on the back of the ticket, it might say you must be present to win. So in order to win, I had to be present. I had to participate in my healing process.
I like that analogy a lot. That's great. And I really like how you described it as being very different from the mentality in the military, which many of our veterans are coming straight from the military or have recently been in the military or have really internalized that mindset. So the idea that I have to participate, I have to choose, I have to do, make a choice in what I'm going to do today to live my life and be healthy is really new.
Very new. And that's where the groups come in. So not only did I do individual work, but I did group work with other veterans. So that allowed me to build connection, build community, know that I'm not alone. And we were able to work together to kind of work through these processes. But yeah, I was used to aiming high. I didn't know anything about living low with a low mood, low energy, moving kind of slow. Everything was very hurry up, fast, 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 go, 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 mission, mission, mission. Well, guess what? I had a new mission. So I had to get a new vision. And it was really about seeing myself coming through this and accepting my new reality and learning to love it. And I'm so grateful. I always say this for the Veterans Health Administration, because now I have the joy of being a grandmother. I'm still here. I can be here for my children, the 6-year-old grandbaby. And, we've now normalized mental health. There's no stigma in my family. It's not something we talk about it all the time. And it's interesting that the children are talking about it. And the 6-year-old grandbaby, if she's having some, just say, strong feelings about something, I can say to her, okay, take a deep breath. And she'll go, all right, great job. So how about that? Now, instead of passing down intergenerational things that might be different, now I can pass down intergenerational healing and trauma and the lack of stigma and all of these things. So my whole entire family system just really wants to say thank you, thank you, and thank you. And I'm so proud to be the trailblazer in my family. There has not been anybody else that has really been verbal and out front about any kind of medical condition. So I'm breaking a cycle of silence. And that's why I'm so grateful for public affairs. And I'm so grateful for you, Christine, for providing this opportunity. Once I found my voice, which took a while, I had to find it again, but I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to be able to use it in a positive and a constructive way.
And we are so grateful for you for being here and sharing your story so openly, and for the work that you do as a peer support specialist.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, it is my honor and privilege to be able to give something back. I'm so grateful. The giving back is what brings me the greatest joy, because I've withdrawn a lot from the system helping me, but now I get to give something back. And the joy of working with the other veterans and letting them know that we do recover. We absolutely recover, and we can live happy, healthy, peaceful lives.
Thank you.
So, Christine, I do have some questions for you.
Of course.
Can we talk about MST in the military? Is this only a woman's issue, or does it impact male veterans as well?
No, it absolutely impacts male veterans. In terms of men, about 1 in 100 men report the experience of MST. Because there are so many more males in the military than females, when we look at the number of male and female veterans who report MST within the VA system, the numbers are about equal.
Mhm.
So there's as many men as there are women. It absolutely is a problem among males and results in similar problems for males as it does for females.
So, in terms of that body mind connection, like women tend to be eaters, emotional eaters. How does it look like? What can it look like in men, and how can family members recognize that there might be an issue?
Mhm. I think for everyone, it can look differently, but certainly um, any type of compulsive or addictive behaviors, substance use issues, compulsive sexual behaviors, gambling, things like that. Even for some people, it's even compulsive work habits.
Mm.
So I think these are attempts to kind of manage the symptoms and painful feelings,
Mhm.
and generally are a way that people are withdrawing. So that may be sort of a red flag or warning sign if you noticed a loved one withdrawing and this is a change for them.
Mhm.
That may be a time to ask or inquire what's going on.
So, would that happen like right after discharge from the military? Because people mask all the time. I mean, there's a whole genre of literature about masking. So would someone maybe hide it after discharge, and then maybe could something trigger something? Can you
Absolutely.
talk about that?
So, for some people, the symptoms or difficulties begin immediately after the event. Other people, they may mask for a while, as Dr. Smith-Benson talked about. She didn't deal with it, put her focus into other ways of coping. And then something can happen, a change in the person's life or another stressor that could trigger these memories and almost cause like a resurgence of difficulties.
Mhm. So, what can veterans or veterans' family members who are listening to this, what can they do in order to get help? How can,
Mhm.
um, you know, aside from the screening, because maybe people might not always be present and may not always answer that screening,
Mhm.
because there's a lot of shame attached to
Mhm.
MST. So,
Absolutely.
how can veterans reach help if there is that shame attached?
They can call me directly. That is one of my primary roles as the MST coordinator, is to ensure that all veterans who've experienced MST are connected with care within the VA. I do also want to mention that all care that is related to military sexual trauma is offered free of charge through the VA.
Mhm.
So I would say that that is the easiest way to connect with care, is to contact me directly. Other options would be to talk to any provider within the VA, and that provider can connect the veteran with me.
And so, when that person makes a connection, like what does it look like when someone finally musters up the courage to call you? Then what happens after that? Does it
Yeah,
move
if
fast? Does it move slow? Can the veteran pace his own or her own progress? Like what happens after that phone call, that first phone call for help? What does it look like after that?
if the veteran has not previously been connected with mental health treatment, I often will have a meeting or session with the veteran where I'll learn a little bit more about their experience, their symptoms, and goals for their own treatment. And from there, I will refer them to the services that would be most suitable for their needs. either within the VA or at a local vet center.
And again, does someone need to be enrolled to get access to those services, or can they still get free treatment for the MST?
They do need to be enrolled in VA.
Okay, so they could start with you and then go through that enrollment process.
I am going to encourage them to enroll. I can't do much until they are actually enrolled. So first step is enroll with VA Maryland. Then you can call me directly.
Okay, so that's a call to action there for any veterans who has experienced MST and who is not yet enrolled for any number of reasons: fear, shame, afraid they won't be treated, whatever. So VA is here. So Dr. Smith-Benson, what do you want veterans to know about that process? I know that MST is one of the risk factors for suicide, aside from substance or, breaking down of relationships between loved ones. So what do you want veterans to know about the process, or getting treatment, or coming in out of the rain to step into that light?
Absolutely. Thank you, Rosalia. I want to really just lean in here and just, first of all, say, thank you to all the veterans that are watching for your service and your sacrifice. And please know that there is help 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every day of the year at the National Veterans Crisis Line. That number has changed, and it is now 988. What's great about it is you can press option 1, and they have trained professionals that are there to help you if you're having some questions or thoughts about suicide. But I want to say also, it doesn't have to be that particular issue. I've had days in my process where I just felt like I needed to talk to someone, right? I just needed a safe place just to connect with someone. And I was able to call the crisis line, and there were folks that were there to speak to me. So I just want people to know you're never alone. The VA is open, the Baltimore VA, down on 10 North Green Street. The emergency department is there. It's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you can present to the emergency department if you feel like you're needing some additional support. And of course, if it's a medical or an emergency situation, please call 911. But that 988 is such a resource. Everyone doesn't know it's out there. So I would just like to leave everyone with that. And I have used it multiple times. And I'm so thankful for the support that I received on the other end of the call. And I just want to say also, you can use a text option for 988. You can access 988 through your computer. So there's multiple ways to connect with the Veterans Crisis Line.
So in short, use the agency that you don't realize you have and ask for help, because it takes a very strong warrior to actually to ask for help.
Absolutely. It is not easy to ask for help at all, especially with that warrior ethos. We don't ask for help. We are the help. So it's very difficult to transition our thought process. My thought process, I'll speak from my experience. It was difficult for me to shift my thought process over to someone that is now in need of help. But I just want to say that help is available at any time. And even if you don't quite know what to do, call 988, press option 1, and they can connect you to resources, help to guide you, or answer any questions that you have.
So the long and the short of it is, VA is here to help, and to be have the courage and be the warrior to actually ask for help.
I would say, yeah. And courage for me was doing it afraid. I mean, my knees were knocking, I was sweating and everything, but I just came through the door. So my last comment is just come in, walk through the door, and you'll be met with respect, dignity, and a smile. And we are happy to be here to serve.
What a wonderful way to end this live stream. Thank you both very much for sharing your stories and help for all the veterans out there who might need care, especially for MST, whether you're a male or female or LGBTQIA. It doesn't matter. Come on in and ask for help. So thank you, everyone who has watched. If you still have more questions and comments, you can still post them from wherever you watch in the comment section, and we'll keep an eye on it and send your question to wherever it needs to go to get an answer. Bye-bye now, everyone, and thank you.